Okay, therefore, the work of these two geologists, Houghton and Charles Lyell, influenced Darwin to realize that natural forces gradually change Earth's surface and that the forces of the past are still operating in modern times. Still. And told that these forces could also cause change in living things. You see, that change is going to be called evolution, which opened one new field in biology. Very important, really. Thomas Malthus, the third personality, of course, not geologist, not biologist, the third personality whose work influenced the thought of Darwin was Thomas Malthus, of course, a 19th century English economist, of course. Uh, he wrote on population growth and demographic literature, of course. He said if population grew geometrically very rapidly while food production is growing very slowly arithmetically, insufficient living space and insufficient food runs out, there is no enough food for rapidly growing population, there is no enough space for rapidly growing population. Then what happens? He told us that there will be struggles to struggles to survive. There is conflict, disease. You see, this was the literature of Thomas Malthus. Darwin applied this economic theory to his own idea of evolution. That means, if there is scarcity, organisms over reproduce, they produce large number of offspring. But the food supply and the living space is scarce, that means not enough. So there will be fights to get the scarce food supply and the insufficient living space. So in that struggle, not all win. Those which win are the fittest, the well adapted. The idea of the fittest can survive was born because of the literature from this Thomas Malthus, the English economist of the 19th century. You see, struggle for survival. The idea of struggle for survival was because of the fact that Darwin read the article written from contributed from this economist Thomas Malthus. Therefore, we have to bring also to influence the thought of Darwin. The fact that Darwin read the article written by this economist is very important for his idea of struggle for survival. So competition or struggle to get the limited resources like food and idea of survival of the fittest was born because of the work of Thomas Malthus, you see. Therefore, the three personalities which contributed to influence the evolutionary thought of Darwin were Houghton, Charles Lyell, and Thomas Malthus. Now, finally, Darwin received an essay entitled "On the Tendency of Varieties to Depart Indefinitely from the Original Type." You see, on the tendency of varieties to depart indefinitely from the original type. This means formation of new species from the original species. This was an article later sent to Darwin by Alfred Russel Wallace. This means Wallace had reached to the same conclusion to that of Darwin independently. And this essay startled Darwin. He was surprised to get a similar work by another scientist in the uh, in different area. I think Asia. Alfred Russel Wallace was working in Asia at that time. By the next year, imagine, by the next year, after the day and after the year, Alfred Wallace sent his research paper to Darwin. Darwin immediately published his theory of evolution, because this is also part of the fetus can survive, because unless he publishes it, Alfred Wallace may surpass and publish first, so that the credit may go to Alfred Wallace. Immediately he published by 1858. In 1858, Alfred Wallace, Russel Wallace, sent his work, similar work. In 1859, Darwin immediately published his theory of evolution. In 1859, Darwin published his theory of evolution, and under the title On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection. Therefore, this is the title of the work of Darwin, On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection. Therefore, new species is formed by natural selection. What is this? Evolution, formation of new species. Change in a species. Change accumulates. Over millions of years, new species will be formed. Therefore, the raw material, the main agent of evolution, according to Darwin, is natural selection. Nature selects the fetus. When the fetus is selected, at the end, after millions of years of this selection, new species can originate from pre-existing one. And his theory of evolution by natural selection has 5 major components, or postulates as we call them. 5 postulates. Let's see these postulates. The first postulate is geometric increase, or fecundity, or biotic potential, you can call it. Geometric increase, fecundity. This talks about the ability of all living organisms to produce large number of offspring. All living organisms do have biotic potential, he declares. Biotic potential means huge ability to produce offspring, large number of offspring. All species tend to produce more offspring than can possibly survive. However, what's the problem? Go to Malthus. What's the problem if a species produces higher than the carrying capacity, offspring higher than the carrying capacity? The space and food availability is limited and could not support the population. The second postulate is variation under nature, if especially this works for sexually reproducing organisms. You see, if they are reproducing sexually, among the large number of offspring produced, there is variation. This variation is not acquired variation. It is variation under nature. Variation under nature. And these differences are natural, not acquired, and are called natural variations, or variations under nature. The third point, that is struggle for existence. The third point, since the number of individuals produced is far more than the number that can be supported by the ecosystem, there is an everlasting competition between organisms at all levels of life. Struggle for survival. Members of each species have to compete for food, shelter, and other life necessities. You see, the struggle for existence is the third postulate. And the fourth postulate is natural selection, or survival of the fittest. Nature selects. We have seen each organism has the ability to reproduce over number, like large number of organisms, large number. The second is, especially in sexually reproducing organisms, there is variation, and because of large number of offspring, there is scarcity of food and living space. Therefore, competition is there. The third postulate. The fourth postulate, in this natural selection, in this struggle for survival, in this competition, not all are allowed to win the struggle. Due to struggle for existence, and only those individuals that show high selective values will survive. That means those well adapted can survive and allowed to reproduce and reach to sexual maturity and reproduce. In other words, those that survive have favorable traits that make them better suited or adapted for the environment. Such selection was called natural selection by Darwin. The fifth postulate is origin of species. In the course of long periods of time, the best fitted, best suited individuals survive and reproduce. As the environment is ever changing, further changes occur and again new adaptations appear in organisms. Ultimately, after several generations of such selection of the well adapted, new species appear, and that is speciation, origin of new species, speciation. This means a population will change over time because of natural selection. This is evolution. Thanks, Darwin. Thanks for giving us this big framework. But you have to know that natural selection is not the only agent of evolution. Thanks for those who came after you to tell us about neo-Darwinian synthetic evolution. They have added the knowledge of genetics, including mutation, change in genetic material, spontaneous random change in genetic material. They have added, but still, natural selection works. It is one agent of evolution, of course. Therefore, this is these are the postulates of Darwin. Finally, thus the driving force of evolution for Darwin is natural selection. Over time, natural selection results in changes in inherited characters of a population. These changes increase a species' fitness in its environment. Thank you very much, Darwin, and thank you very much, my cheers. Bye bye. I will come by the next portion. Bye.